Very good. Okay, so let's jump in. So a little bit about Threekit, and again, just our trajectory. You may have not heard of us, but we've been around for a while. The business was originally founded as a software company that was delivering special effects in Hollywood movies. So if you've ever seen Harry Potter or Star Wars, you've actually seen us and our software. The business went through a series of evolutions. One of the more notable ones was when WebGL hit the scene, and we were able to do some pretty exciting visual-based things in browsers. So you no longer needed the heavy CPU, and that really kind of democratized visualization from an internet standpoint. And then last year, Threekit secured a seed round of funding led by serial entrepreneur Godard Abel. Godard has been in the digital commerce space for decades, and the last two companies we did were in the configurator space, the non-visual configurator space. SteelBrick was the most recent one, which we sold to Salesforce.com. Big Machines prior to that, which was sold to Oracle. Those products are now known as Oracle CPQ and Salesforce CPQ. So a storied history where really impressive visual chops come together with a team that has been in the configurator space for a long, long time. And that translates to a pretty powerful solution that's addressing the changing needs of the market. So as we think about the world today, and I would venture to guess that someone on this webinar is looking at their phone right now. The world is all about visuals. We're constantly consuming them. It's influencing the way that we make purchasing decisions. It's influencing basically everything in our life. But when it comes to business applications, there remains a gap. We have consumers out there clamoring for better interactive visual experiences, and that means a lot of things to different people. We're going to talk a little bit about the flavors of what a visual experience could mean, but there's a financial implication too. It's missed conversions or lower than potential conversions. It's people ordering something in an e-commerce motion and realizing when they get it, it's not at all what they thought it was. We feel that visualization has the ability to really drastically impact some of these stats and create a pretty amazing and immersive customer buying journey along the way. It's one of those things that's really challenging to verbalize. It's hard to kind of describe the difference when you see a picture that's good and a picture that's bad. So let's look at pictures, and it's really pretty clear. The one on the left is one of our customers, Crate Barrel, where we've rendered photorealistic images off of our Threekit platform, and the one on the right is the sofa that didn't get bought. So we want to make sure that you as agencies are fully informed and fully aware of what our capabilities are and know when to prescribe them. And if we think about visualization through the lens of the customer journey, we can really kind of follow the map. If I'm a buyer that's considering something and I look at a product page, I enjoy pictures. That's nice to see, and perhaps it stokes my interest. But when I'm getting more serious about buying, I want to begin to interact with that visual. And that's where interactive 3D might come into play, where I can spin the object around and zoom in and inspect it. When I'm really serious about buying, perhaps I want to drop that product in my physical space through augmented reality. Does it fit in the room that I want it with? Does it look right with the curtains? At Threekit, the visualization platform that we deliver is really subscribing to the one asset, any experience. So once you have your products loaded into Threekit, we can deliver photorealistic 2D, interactive 3D, AR, and whatever comes next. So it's an exciting opportunity to leverage visualization to go on offense. In the marketplace, we've got a lot of technology partners. We're working with virtually all of the large e-commerce providers out there. So I know there's agencies that specialize in some or one of these partners. We also have other applications such as CPQ for using visuals to drive quotes, or perhaps dealer portals if you have customers that sell through dealers. So really anywhere that visualization could move the needle in a business process, as long as we have access to a modern browser, we are able to support. And when it comes to agencies specifically, we understand part of your job is staying abreast of technology trends, and part of the job is balancing, the type of work that those technology partners that you have are actually doing for your customers and for your projects. So we've got the resources on hand to make sure that the projects are home runs. We've got world-class implementation teams to augment, your delivery capacity. We welcome the opportunity to explore adding Threekit to your skill set from a delivery standpoint, and we would gladly give all the project work to your agency if you're comfortable delivering. And finally, we've got customer success dedicated to agencies. So when you're the single point of contact for your customers, we want you to feel comfortable that Threekit's here with you. If ever there's a question or a problem, there's a dedicated organization within our company that's designed to make sure you're delighted. Finally, before we get into the demonstration, the last thing that we'll cover is just a little bit of a high-level overview of what we're about to see. From a platform perspective, Threekit operates a lot like a conveyor belt. So we begin the process of arriving at an immersive visual experience by feeding Threekit files. We work with 40 to 50 different file types. It can be as rudimentary as a CAD file. We can support outputs from all the major 3D software packages. We also have capabilities to develop models from scratch, from pictures or from samples. So there's lots of ways to get started, but the first step is always to upload the geometric representation of the product that we want to visualize. At this point, it kind of looks like a shell. It's the exterior mesh of the object. The next step in the conveyor belt is to begin to apply materials to an annotated file. So I know where the legs of the couch are. I know where the tires for the car are. And I can begin to apply materials so that shell begins to suddenly look a little bit more lifelike. Following the conveyor belt, the next thing we'll do is hit a digital photography studio where we'll set things like lighting and the scene. So we're capturing reflections and refractions, transparency. So now that shell that began its life cycle on the conveyor belt is really looking beautiful. And from there, we can decide on what to do with it. Common use cases, as I mentioned before, are interactive 3D experiences such as product configurators, assembly instructions, annotated visuals where I can kind of see what different aspects of a particular product would do or what their differentiators are. We can do photorealistic 2D where I can't tell that I'm not looking at a picture, all the way up to and including augmented reality. We're generating a ton of data around what customers are doing and interacting with these visuals and so we can generate reports and help you get smarter with that activity that happens before we add it to the cart. So it's exciting times here at Threekit. I hope you're impressed and I hope you're as excited as we are. We tend to get a little bit more excited about these things than we should. And as we transition into the demo portion of the webinar, I just wanted to flash a few ways to get in touch with us. So again, my name is Matt Hobbs. I lead sales for Threekit. Lauren is the next email address. She heads up our alliances. You may have noticed her name in the meeting invite. And as always, feel free to visit threekit.com, shoot us a chat, fill out a form to become a partner. And we look forward to future conversations. So with that, I'd like to introduce the next presenter, Phil. Phil, I will pass.
Thanks, Matt. Perfect. So let me go ahead and just share my screen really quick. And Matt, can you give me a thumbs up that it's coming through okay in the Zoom?
It's very helmety, Phil. Looking good.
Perfect. Well, it's a pleasure to present to everybody today. My name is Phil Bradison. I am a solution engineer here with the Threekit team. The majority of my career has been spent in working with product configurators like Big Machines or Salesforce CPQ, where you weren't able to see the product that you were configuring. And so here at Threekit, that's really what we're all about, is taking it that next step where you can not only put together the product, but you can also see exactly what you're going to be purchasing. Or if it's a sales rep, you can learn about the product potentially. And I'll explain a few things as we kind of go along here. So what I was planning to do is start with this high-level introduction of an interactive 3D configurable model. So as Matt mentioned a minute ago, essentially what we're doing here with Threekit is we're creating some kind of a virtual representation of the product inside of our platform. So we can get that 3D representation in a variety of ways, CAD files, we have customers that have more formal 3D art files. But in any case, once we get the model into the platform, we can begin to expose a whole host of different experiences. And so the applications are very broad, frankly. In this case here, what we can do is we can expose an interactive configurable model on any web device. So this could be an e-commerce platform, this could be a dealer portal, this could be embedded directly into a CPQ solution. We're very flexible and we have dozens of integrations with these various platforms. So right out of the gates, what we can see here is this interactive experience. As a buyer or as potentially a sales rep or a dealer trying to learn about the product, there's no substitute for being able to hold it in your hands or interact with it in this kind of, visceral way. So I can go ahead and touch it, rotate it around. I can see how thick things are. If I want to understand some small detail that's maybe not relevant based on a product description, I don't have to leave it up to guesswork. I can just simply, rotate the model, get a good sense for what this looks and feels like, just as I would do if I was holding this helmet in person. But from there, we can not only interact with the model, but what makes Threekit powerful is its ability to dynamically configure the product that you're seeing. So you'll notice here as I'm making various selections, we can change different geometries, we can change materials, we can even apply various visual effects techniques or layering things like animations or annotations. The Threekit player itself is very powerful. It's essentially a full-blown 3D editing suite that you hook up to a configurator form. So basically, as you're making these selections, the system is going to know what you're looking to visualize, and it's going to visualize that for you in any capacity here. So a few other things here just to kind of keep in mind. As I'm kind of going through here, you'll notice that my SKU in the back end here is changing and my price is updating and things of that nature. So with Threekit, we not only have the rich visualization, but we have a mechanism to understand what product the customer is engaging with, which makes the solution very scalable, and it makes it very easy to integrate into e-commerce platforms or CPQ solutions. So from here, this is one illustration to showcase what we can do, and as I would say is, usually what people think of when they think of Threekit, obviously based on the name, but you can not only create a robust visual experience in a 3D capacity, but you can also use those same 3D assets to generate photorealistic images. So if anybody is a big Crate Barrel fan, I hate to break it to you, but 95% of what you've been looking at on their website are not actually photographs. These are all renders that have been taken using the Threekit platform. So essentially, just like we saw a second ago with the Zenith football helmet, Crate Barrel has all of their products, their materials, the lighting scenarios and things of that nature, all baked directly into the Threekit platform. And rather than exposing it in a 3D configurable fashion, they're exposing photorealistic renders. So this becomes powerful when you think about how challenging and insurmountable it would be for a company like Crate Barrel, which has hundreds of thousands of products, and each of those products have dozens of materials, different arm styles, legs finishes, etc. To simply photograph all of those or visualize those for their customers is a monumental undertaking. It's very expensive, and frankly, at the scale that they're dealing with, it might even be impossible. So with Threekit, since we have all of that configuration logic kind of built into the platform and we have their models, we can automatically generate this content for them at scale. So again, we've done, I think, north of 2.5 million digital photos for Crate Barrel, and they continue to add some every day. Now, just to give you a sense here, as I was kind of scrolling through those dozens of different collections, in each one of those, right, you have dozens of different products, and each one of these, again, you have just a sheer number of different materials and different styles and things of that nature. So this becomes important for a number of reasons. Number one, obviously the initial generation of the content, but I think more importantly is maintenance. If you think about what it would mean if you wanted to introduce a new fabric or a new arm style or a new leg finish into your collection, with traditional methods, you would basically be remanufacturing, reupholstering, and setting up those photo shoots again. With the Threekit platform, it's very simple. You just simply upload your new material. You tag that material so you know where it's going to be applied on the models, and then we basically take it from there and make it available on all of your experiences, whether that be a 3D configurable model, these photorealistic renders, or augmented reality. Great. And last but not least, just to sort of round out the bases here, what we're really excited for are some of the things that are happening in augmented reality, virtual reality, and just general immersive commerce. So with Threekit, what we're doing is we're allowing you to take those 3D assets that you have on our platform and expose them in a general format. So you can have them embedded into web pages here, like for Apple has their USDZ format, Google has something similar, but you can also expose those same models into various other platforms, like Facebook is coming out with some interesting things for apparel, and a number of other platforms are going to be innovating over the years. So with Threekit, we're sort of that translation engine. Your products live directly inside of the Threekit platform, and then we can then allow you to create augmented reality or virtual reality experiences on any of those platforms. So here, I'm just on a simple web browser, so I can go ahead and click on my product here, nice espresso machine. I can rotate it around just like we did before, and now when I hit View in AR, I can go ahead and actually project this directly in my room. So I can not only see what the product would look like in an interactive 3D capacity, but I can also see what the product looks like with relative dimensions and how it would fit in my particular space. You know, so things like this have a market impact on return rates and other areas that affect pretty much every aspect of the buying journey. Great. So that's kind of the high-level overview I wanted to start with. What I'd like to do now is maybe hop into a few publicly facing examples to give you guys a sense of what this looks like in the wild. Unfortunately, whenever we broadcast these things over a Zoom presentation, we lose a lot of visual quality and sometimes there's some latency. So first, Herman Miller here. That's an excellent example of a customer that's using us in an omni-channel capacity, where they have not only this publicly facing interactive chair configurator, but they also have a much more robust configurator that's hooked directly up to their ERP system for their dealers. So the consumers can only see a subset of options, but the dealers have pretty much everything under the sun, and they're able to collaborate using visualization because, you know, really visualization is a universal language that everybody understands. Another example here would be Puka. So Puka is a manufacturer of custom hats. And so the challenge that they were solving for when they first approached Threekit was how they could go after the lower end of the market or sell to companies that weren't buying thousands of hats at a time. Because if you're customizing a hat like this, there's going to be a lot of, you know, very specific details that have to be captured in order to manufacture it correctly. Well, they weren't able to do that at a mass scale. So with Threekit, what we're doing here is not only allowing the customer to customize and make their own hat, but we're also allowing Puka to fulfill that in a very streamlined and straightforward fashion. So after I were to hit buy now or hit submit, Threekit would generate the cut sheets and everything like that and ship it off to their fulfillment system. So it's basically a no-touch order from their standpoint. And again, I always like to sort of go through here, and I think this is an excellent example because you get a lot of different textures and kind of subtle qualities. Like I can change different materials here to various types, change different colors, and we can even do things like personalization. So personalization has been a big topic, not only in the B2C market, not only for our customers that are selling B2C, but also for many customers that are selling B2B. So in medical devices and surgical equipment, things of that nature, surgeons want to make sure that they have their tools coming back from the cleaners when they receive them. So being able to personalize and do things like engraving are actually very important to a lot of businesses that I would never have thought it would be. Great. Perfect. So essentially, I've kind of checked most of the boxes here that I wanted to go through. I suppose we can pause, Matt, if there's anything that you wanted me to touch on briefly, or if there are questions from the audience, I'd be happy to take those now.
Yeah, no, thanks, Phil. That was great. We again, the spirit of the webinar was to kind of be introductory in nature. We wanted to, for those that haven't met us yet, to let you know we're here. We're at all the big shows. We've been kind of on the trade show circuit this year. So if you haven't met us, the odds are your clients or prospects have. So we wanted to provide that introduction to who we are and what we're all about, provide the visual overview, and then kind of share the contact information in the event that you'd like to learn more. So we'll pause for a minute and see. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat box yet. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but we're happy to answer a few questions if anybody has any. Otherwise, we appreciate your time and attention. Hope you saw something that you liked. Just giving another minute for questions. Don Fernando, are there limits to the amount of attributes that can be configured? Phil, I'll pass that one your way.
Yeah, that's a great question. So technically, no. However, we do integrate with many CPQ solutions specifically to handle, some of the more complex constraint logic. At Threekit here, we have some capabilities to handle things like hiding and showing rules and basic, product recommendations and things of that nature. But when you're dealing with manufacturing, let's say a generator or a water pump, for instance, where you have thousands of attributes that need to be calculated in order to validate if the machine is actually going to work, that's generally where we'll look to one of our CPQ partners. So we plug very seamlessly into a variety of different CPQ solutions. And the way that works usually is the CPQ solution will handle all of the, traditional configuration logic. And then we basically just receive what the configuration is, and then we visualize that configuration for the customer.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. We've got a question on personalization. Has any customer been able to avoid a bad outcome? Example would be a logo didn't look right in placement and therefore save time and money before the product went out. Mm-hmm. Definitely. And that was one of the earlier points that we tried to highlight in the slide deck around driving down returns. So when you're able to inspect the product visually, even if it's been personalized or customized, a la the puka hat where Phil wrote his name on it and you saw the exact placement of the letters, you could have even zoomed in to look at piping and stitching go beyond just the placement. So that's probably the biggest thing that our customers are talking to us about in reference to ROI. The first being the increase in conversions, the second being the reduction in returns. There's also a lot of added benefit that customers are getting by using the visualization outside of just an e-commerce purpose or just a quoting purpose. You can use them for marketing collaterals, promotions. We've got a client in the UK that sells vodka, Ciroc, and if you pop out of the tube at certain spots, you might see a tablet kiosk set up where you can personalize your Ciroc vodka bottle, and they charge an extra nickel for it. So long-winded yes to your question. How is an agency supposed to work with Threekit if a customer might be a fit? What if our client already has a product photography studio? That's a great question. A lot of times people are interested in I'm going to take the product question first, the photography question first. A lot of people are interested in going beyond the limits of standard photography. So the AR that Phil mentioned would be a great example of that. So you don't have to replace all your photography, but we certainly represent an option to do that. The other thing that we commonly run into is the scale issue of standard photography. So going back to the Crate and Barrel example, they had a healthy photography budget and were never really able to get past 20 or 30% of their product catalog visualized. So with us being able to render at scale, that's probably the biggest reason we see people coming our way that are interested in photorealistic 2D. In reference to how we work together, it would start by an outreach. Please get in touch. Love to hear about whatever your potential project is, and ensure that it's the type of thing that we can help you with. In the event that we can, we kind of are a joint selling team. So it's very common to do proof of concepts together. Threekit would kind of be a solution that's wrapped around your agency's larger effort, and typically we'd be shoulder to shoulder with like an e-commerce chassis and a tax filing solution and a payment gateway. So it'd be one big happy bundle. We commonly go on site with agencies, help them understand the level of effort and costs so that they can pull together the overall budget for the client. Do you have any corresponding back office tools for assembly of custom products for fulfillment teams? For example, ability to see construct a couch with configuration options. So this is a question that is asking about, do we have any back office tools to help people that are manufacturing what they have just customized on the front end? The short answer is no. We handshake with those types of systems, and we absolutely can facilitate the type of experience where the configured BOM, the smart part number, whatever you want to call it, can be passed to a back office system along with a visual itself. So we're not really the tool that does it, but we certainly can facilitate that, an improvement in that business process. Phil, I thought I heard you start to respond as well. I might have spoke over you.
No, I think you covered it perfectly. Yeah.
Great. Show what your backend tools look like. Yes, I can, but not in 2 minutes. So Olivier, I would be happy to connect with you. I would suggest drop a note to on the chat on our website, or our that we've got a form there if you want to fill it out. We would love to have you get in touch with us and schedule some time for a deeper dive into some of the technical stuff, the back end. Great. I think we nailed it. So we're right at the half-hour mark. I'm not seeing any more questions. Again, just thank you all to who attended for joining and for your investment of time. I hope it was worthwhile. Please spread the word if you found this helpful and you'd like to share with others in your agency or organization or clients. We're more than happy if this is the type of topic that warrants maybe a webinar, or I'm sorry, a lunch and learn that goes a little deeper than we did at this webinar. We're happy to kind of do the roadshow as well. We've got coverage globally. So there's a Threekit somewhere near you. Thank you all very much for joining. There's a recording of this, so we'll have that available for those that are interested. And I sincerely hope that we hear from some of you all soon. Have a great day, all.